There comes a sacred point in every soul's journey, a moment when you are stretched to your edge, when the waiting feels endless, and your prayers echo back in silence. Yet that silence is not absence, it is divine preparation. The very tension you feel is the signal that your blessing is near. You may not see movement in the physical world, but something unseen is shifting beneath the surface. The energy that once resisted you is now beginning to align with you. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. Every delay, every detour, every night you cried thinking God wasn't listening was part of a greater synchronization. The unseen realm is arranging every piece of your miracle with precision. Chosen one, you stand on holy ground, even in your struggle. That pressure you feel is not punishment, it's spiritual labor, the birthing of your breakthrough. What you've been waiting for is already finished in the invisible. You're not manifesting something new, you're awakening to what's already yours. This is not the time to doubt. This is the moment to stand firm in quiet certainty. The evidence may still be invisible, but the vibration of victory is near. You can feel it in your spirit. That inner whisper saying, hold on, don't quit now. You're closer than you think. Heaven hasn't forgotten your name. Every tear you've shed, every prayer you've whispered in exhaustion, every moment you chose faith over fear, it has all been recorded. The divine doesn't rush, but it never fails. The law of creation works with perfect timing, and right now, it's declaring that your season of waiting is turning into your season of witnessing. Your breakthrough is not coming, it's unfolding. Stay faithful, because the invisible hand that carried you through the storm is about to reveal why you had to endure it. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. The power of the unseen assumption, living as if it's already done. There is a sacred truth that the awakened ones come to understand. Everything that manifests in your life begins first as an unseen assumption. The outer world is nothing more than the mirror of your inner acceptance. You are not waiting for your breakthrough to appear. Your breakthrough is waiting for you to believe in it so deeply that reality has no choice but to reflect it. The power of assumption is the secret language of creation. The moment you assume a thing to be true, even when every fact denies it, you begin to summon unseen forces that align the visible with your conviction. Life doesn't bend to your hopes or fears, it bends to your inner acceptance of what is already real. You are not just a body moving through time. You are consciousness creating experience. When you pray for change but keep feeling the absence of what you desire, you delay it. But when you assume it's already yours, when you emotionally live in the feeling of fulfillment, the unseen begins to move instantly. This is the divine paradox you must believe before you see, not see before you believe. Every great transformation begins with a silent shift inside. When your assumption changes, your vibration changes, and your world must follow. You are not here to chase outcomes. You are here to embody them. The unseen assumption is the womb of miracles. It's where creation begins long before it touches your physical reality. Understand this assumption is not pretending. It is the awareness that everything you desire already exists in another dimension of reality. You are not creating from nothing. You are selecting from infinite possibilities through the power of inner acceptance. When you assume that you are already blessed, already loved, already successful, you are tuning into the frequency where those truths exist. You don't need to beg God for what He's already given. You need to awaken to it. Faith is not about convincing God to act. It's about convincing yourself that it is done. The unseen responds not to your words, but to your feeling. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if your heart still beats in doubt, nothing changes. The true prayer is the silent assumption that it is already done. That is the language heaven understands. When you hold that inner conviction with quiet certainty, the external world begins to rearrange itself in mysterious ways. The people you need begin to appear. The doors that were closed begin to open, and the timing that once felt off suddenly becomes divine. But it all starts with your willingness to assume your desire as a living reality. You see, the outer world is a reflection, not the cause. What you call circumstances are just mirrors showing you your most consistent assumptions. Change the mirror. No, change the reflection within you, and the mirror will follow. The one who truly understands this law stops wrestling with reality and begins shaping it from within. That's why the chosen one doesn't react. They respond from vision, not from appearance. They live inwardly in the end result. They walk, talk, think, and breathe from the feeling that their prayer is already answered. When you begin to assume your breakthrough is near, your energy changes. The worry fades. The waiting loses power. You no longer chase, you attract. Your actions flow with peace because you know you're not trying to make something happen. You're aligning with what already is. The unseen world is loyal to your inner acceptance. If you keep assuming loss, life will echo loss. But if you assume divine victory, even when you're surrounded by delay, life will rise to meet that vision. The unseen obeys conviction. Chosen one, this is your spiritual technology, to live as if it's done. To wake up each day not asking when will it happen, but declaring it already has. You shift timelines the moment you shift assumptions. When you embody the emotion of, I have it, rather than, I need it, everything around you must obey, because the unseen is governed by vibration, not effort. You can't trick it with words, but you can align with it through faith. When your inner reality becomes saturated with the feeling of completion, your outer reality can no longer resist the reflection of that truth. Think about it, every breakthrough you've ever had came right after a shift within. You stopped doubting, you stopped fearing, you simply knew. That knowing, that assumption, became the bridge from the invisible to the visible. Nothing outside of you changed until something inside of you changed first. That is the essence of creation. The unseen assumption carries more power than all your physical actions combined. It is the blueprint of destiny, the silent decree that commands the unseen to obey. So stop looking for signs that it's working. The moment you assume it is, it already has begun. The universe doesn't delay, it aligns. Time itself bends around faith. When you assume your victory, your healing, your abundance, and live in that consciousness, the physical must eventually catch up. Don't be deceived by appearances. The unseen is always ahead of the seen. When nothing seems to be happening, that's when everything is happening. Today, walk as if your prayer has been answered. Think, speak, and move as though the breakthrough is already behind you. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the peace, now. Because that feeling is the evidence that your assumption has rooted in faith. The world outside will soon have no choice but to mirror it back. Remember this truth, your assumption is the seed, your faith is the water, your persistence is the sunlight, and your reality is the harvest. Don't dig up the seed with doubt. Let it grow in stillness. The unseen knows what it's doing. The moment you live from the end, not toward it, you become unstoppable. Your breakthrough isn't waiting in the distance. It's waiting in your decision to assume it is done. Believe it, embody it, live it. And soon, you will walk into what you've already seen within. The delay is an illusion. When nothing seems to move, everything is aligning. There comes a time in every chosen soul's path when it feels like life has stopped listening. You've prayed, believed, waited, and yet, silence. You wonder if heaven has forgotten you. You question whether all your faith has been in vain. But the truth, the sacred and often hidden truth, is that nothing is ever still. Even when you see no movement in the invisible is in motion. What looks like delay is divine choreography. It's not denial, it's alignment. God never forgets what He promised. He simply arranges the timing so that when it arrives, it fits perfectly into your destiny. The waiting is not punishment, it's preparation. You see, the delay is never about time, it's about readiness. The universe doesn't rush, but it never fails. When it seems like everything is standing still, the unseen forces are actually constructing the bridge to your breakthrough. You may not see the architecture, but your faith is laying the foundation. The universe is making room for what you've asked for, removing what can't stay, shifting what must go, and refining you into someone capable of holding the blessing. Because what good is a breakthrough if your spirit isn't built strong enough to sustain it? The delay is love in disguise. It's heaven saying, I am not withholding from you. I am preparing you. Patience is not weakness, it's spiritual mastery. To stand still in peace while nothing seems to happen is one of the highest forms of faith. Because faith that only works when things are visible is not faith, it's sight. True belief remains unshaken when the world goes silent. You are not being ignored, you are being trained to trust the unseen. Every great promise must pass through a silent season. Every dream must walk through the wilderness of waiting. That silence is sacred soil where faith takes root and grows unbreakable. Understand this: delays are not detours. They are design. They stretch you, refine you, and teach you the language of divine timing. The universe is precise. It does not send blessings into chaos. It does not pour miracles into unprepared hearts. That's why some doors must stay closed until you are ready to walk through them with wisdom. Every unanswered prayer is not a rejection. It's a redirection towards something higher. The waiting may feel long, but it is holy. It's the unseen recalibration of everything around you, ensuring that when the blessing arrives, it never leaves again. Chosen one, you must stop measuring progress by visible evidence. What you call nothing happening is actually the rearrangement of energy, people, and purpose on a level your physical eyes cannot see. Your breakthrough is like the sunrise, invisible in the dark, inevitable at dawn. When you keep faith through the night, you guarantee the morning. The illusion of delay is only seen by those who trust appearances more than the promise. But you were not chosen to live by sight. You were chosen to walk by vision, to feel what cannot yet be touched, to celebrate what has not yet arrived, and to thank God for what is already unfolding. The reason so many give up right before their breakthrough is because they mistake divine timing for divine silence. But silence does not mean stillness. The unseen world is active even in the pause. Just because you don't hear the sound of your answered prayer doesn't mean it's not echoing through eternity toward you. The delay is the universe working in your favor, aligning every element so that nothing comes prematurely. A premature blessing can become a burden, so heaven waits until the vessel, you, is prepared. When you start to see the delay as divine alignment, peace returns. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with time. You stop asking when and start declaring soon. You stop worrying about how and begin trusting that everything is being woven together perfectly. The divine plan does not operate on your clock. It operates on your growth. Every moment you remain faithful during waiting seasons adds depth to your spirit. It shapes your patience, strengthens your discernment, and polishes your gratitude. So that when the breakthrough comes, you don't just receive it, you reverence it. The illusion of delay only exists for those who think life is linear. But in truth, your blessing already exists in another dimension of completion. Time is simply catching up to what God already finished. Your job is not to chase it, it's to align with it. When your frequency matches the vibration of your answered prayer, time collapses, and what seemed delayed suddenly appears out of nowhere. But it was never out of nowhere. It was out of the unseen. The blessing was always there, waiting for you to stop doubting, stop worrying, and start being. You must understand that divine timing is not late, it's layered. Layers of unseen conditions, people, opportunities, and energy are moving in harmony for your good. What seems delayed from your perspective is actually synchronized from heavens. The moment you begin to rest in this awareness, the weight of waiting disappears. You no longer fight the silence. You embrace it as part of the process. You start to see that every not yet from God is still a yes, just waiting for the perfect unfolding. Chosen one, do not curse your waiting season. Bless it. Speak life over it. Because this delay is growing you in ways acceleration never could. This pause is teaching you endurance, depth, and divine trust. It's molding you into the version of yourself that your future requires. The process may feel long, but remember, what takes time to build is harder to break. Fast miracles fade, formed miracles last. The delay is forming something eternal within you. So the next time you feel forgotten, whisper this truth into your soul: nothing is delayed. Everything is aligning. The invisible hands of destiny are at work in your favor. The pieces you cannot see are fitting perfectly into place. Every quiet moment is a part of the divine puzzle of your breakthrough. Keep walking in faith. Keep trusting the unseen, because soon the delay will end and you'll realize it was never delay. It was divine design. The miracle you're waiting for is not lost. It's maturing. And when it finally manifests, you'll understand why you had to wait. You'll see that the timing wasn't slow. It was sacred. Because what God is preparing you for is bigger than what you asked for. The delay was never the enemy. It was the evidence that something extraordinary was in the making. Hold on, chosen one. The waiting is ending. Your time is nearer than you think. The bridge of faith, walking the invisible path to your breakthrough faith, is the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. It is not built from wood or stone, but from belief and surrender. You cannot see it, you cannot measure it, but when you walk upon it, it holds you. Every promise that God placed in your heart already exists, but the only way to reach it is by crossing the unseen bridge of faith. The chosen ones understand this truth deeply. Nothing moves in the outer world until something moves within. Faith is that inner movement, the invisible step that precedes every visible miracle. You cannot wait for signs to appear before you trust. You must trust before signs appear. The bridge of faith does not look safe from the start. It often looks like emptiness, uncertainty, and silence. It feels like stepping off the edge of what's known into what's promised. That is why many turn back, because they want proof before they walk. But chosen one, faith is the proof. It is the evidence of things unseen, the quiet knowing that what you desire already exists in another dimension, waiting for you to match its vibration. Faith is not blind, it sees with a higher vision. It sees beyond the appearance of lack and beholds the fullness of divine supply. To live by faith is to live from the end, to dwell in the feeling of completion even when your physical eyes still see incompletion. Every fulfilled destiny began with a soul who chose to walk across this invisible bridge. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't see how it would work. They simply carried one truth in their heart. If God planted this vision within me, He already prepared the path toward it. That awareness is what holds you when nothing else does. Because faith doesn't remove the storm. It carries you through it. Faith doesn't promise comfort. It promises completion. You will not always feel strong while walking this bridge. There will be moments where doubt whispers, where fear screams, where logic questions your belief. But every step taken in faith strengthens the unseen structure beneath your feet. You see, the bridge of faith is built one inner step at a time. Each time you choose trust over fear, belief over doubt, peace over panic, the bridge extends further. Every time you speak life instead of complaint, every time you say, "It is done," instead of, "I hope it happens," you lay another plank across the gap between you and your blessing. Faith is built through repetition of trust. It's not about being perfect in belief. It's about being persistent in it. Even when fear knocks, you choose to answer with faith. That's how the invisible becomes visible. The bridge of faith will often ask you to walk when there is no sign that it's working. It will require you to keep speaking abundance when your bank account says otherwise, to keep declaring healing when your body still aches, to keep thanking God for a miracle you haven't yet seen. Because the moment you stop believing, the bridge disappears. Not because it failed, but because your perception withdrew the power that kept it alive. The bridge of faith exists only in the energy of belief. It is sustained by conviction. When you feed your faith more than your fear, the unseen grows solid beneath you. Chosen one, faith is not a feeling, it's a decision. Feelings will change, circumstances will fluctuate, but faith is the constant that connects your human experience to divine fulfillment. You may not know how the promise will come to pass, but you must know that it will. You are not required to build the entire bridge. You are only required to take the next step. The how belongs to God. The yes belongs to you. Each yes is a declaration that you trust the unseen architect working behind your life. And here is the mystery. The bridge of faith never appears fully formed. It reveals itself as you walk. You cannot stand on one side and wait to see the whole way across. That is not faith, that is comfort. Faith begins when sight ends. Every miracle, every manifestation, every answered prayer comes when you dare to step onto nothing, trusting that it will become something under your feet. That's when heaven responds. That's when divine alignment rushes to meet you halfway. Because faith draws the unseen into visibility. It pulls future blessings into present form. There will be times when the bridge feels unstable. When you question if you've misunderstood the promise, you may feel like the distance between you and your dream is widening. But that's when you must remember the bridge is built through persistence, not proof. Every time you keep believing when it makes no sense, you are walking closer to the manifestation of your desire. You don't need to run. Faith is not speed. It is endurance. The bridge doesn't require haste, it requires stillness of spirit. Walk calmly, knowing that the divine is guiding each step, even the ones that feel uncertain. The bridge of faith transforms you. It purifies your intention, strips your pride, and deepens your trust. By the time you reach the other side, you are not the same person who started the journey. That's the purpose of the bridge. Not just to deliver the blessing to you, but to develop the strength within you to sustain it. God doesn't just want you to receive miracles. He wants you to become the kind of soul that miracles flow through naturally. Faith is that transformation. Chosen one, this is your reminder you are already on the bridge. Every prayer, every act of trust, every moment you chose faith over fear has carried you forward. Even if you don't feel movement, you are being moved. The bridge is not failing you, it's forming beneath you. Keep walking, keep believing, keep speaking as if it's done, because the bridge of faith never collapses under conviction. It will hold you until your promise becomes your reality. And one day soon, you will look back and realize that the bridge you thought would break carried you into everything you dreamed of, not because you saw it, but because you believed before you saw. That's the power of the unseen path. That's the essence of divine trust. Your faith is your transportation to destiny. Keep walking, chosen one. The other side is closer than you think. The law of inner speech, the voice that shapes your reality. Every miracle begins in silence, not in the world outside, but within the mind's hidden chambers. Long before the event takes form, before the opportunity arrives, before the prayer is answered, it first takes life through your inner speech. The unseen conversations you hold with yourself are the architects of your destiny. You are always talking, even when your lips are still. That quiet dialogue, those unspoken words, are not harmless thoughts. They are spiritual commands shaping what unfolds around you. The law of inner speech is one of the most powerful truths of creation. Whatever you consistently tell yourself becomes the life you live. The outer world doesn't listen to what you say aloud. It listens to what you whisper inwardly. You can speak faith but think fear, praise with your mouth but complain in your heart. And the universe will respond not to your performance, but to your truth. The vibration of your inner words becomes the frequency that reality mirrors. You cannot live a life higher than your inner conversation. When you speak defeat to yourself in private, no public affirmation can save you. When you nurture faith within, no outer circumstance can break you. The law is impartial. It gives form to the dominant dialogue of your mind. Chosen one, your inner voice is sacred ground. It is where creation begins and ends. Every I am statement you repeat internally is a decree to the universe. When you say, I am tired, I am unlucky, I am waiting, you give energy to those states. But when you declare within, I am blessed, I am guided, I am already there, you align yourself with divine truth. The words you accept internally become the reality you meet externally. That's why heaven never tells you to pray with fear. It asks you to speak as though it's done, because your world will always echo what your inner voice believes. The law of inner speech does not rest. Even in silence, you are creating. When you worry, you are rehearsing a future you don't want. When you replay the past, you are giving energy to what should have died. When you imagine the worst, you are sculpting it into potential form. But when you use your inner voice to speak peace, to affirm victory, to assume the feeling of fulfillment, you are sending a command to the unseen to obey your faith. The universe hears your assumptions louder than your prayers, because prayer is not about begging, it's about alignment. And alignment happens through the consistency of your inner dialogue. Your inner speech is the seed. Your emotions are the water. Your persistence is the sunlight. Every day you repeat the same inner story, you are watering the garden of your future. That is why the chosen one must be disciplined, not just in action, but in thought. You cannot rise while your inner voice drags you down. You cannot walk into abundance while constantly telling yourself you're lacking. The world you experience is a reflection of how you talk to yourself when no one's listening. When you begin to master your inner dialogue, everything changes. Peace replaces panic. Hope replaces doubt. You no longer speak from fear, you speak from faith. You start telling a different story, not about how hard life is, but about how guided you are. Not about what went wrong, but about what's working in your favor. And soon, reality begins to rearrange itself to match that inner language. People shift, opportunities appear, delays dissolve, not because the world changed first, but because you did. The law of inner speech ensures that your outer world can never rise above your inner conviction. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. You'll notice your old thoughts trying to return, whispering doubt when you begin to believe, replaying pain when you start to dream. But that's just the echo of the old self trying to survive. The new version of you must persist in speaking differently. Every time you catch yourself thinking small, replace it with a declaration of greatness. Every time your mind says, "It's taking too long," answer with, "It's unfolding perfectly." This is not denial, it's direction. You are teaching your consciousness to speak the language of completion rather than delay. The most powerful thing you can do is to talk to yourself as the person you are becoming. Speak as the one who already crossed the storm, already walked through the fire, already received the promise. When your inner voice vibrates at that level, the universe must adjust. Because the law of inner speech operates under divine consistency. It cannot contradict your dominant belief. The outer world is just your inner conversation made visible. If you don't like what you see, don't fight the reflection. Change the words that created it. Chosen one, this is your true work. To guard the words you speak in the silence of your soul. To speak life where fear once spoke death. To replace, "What if I fail?" with, "What if I soar?" To silence the old voice that said you're not enough and awaken the divine one that says, "You always were." Every time you choose a higher word, you shift dimensions. You move from worry to wisdom, from chaos to clarity, from waiting to walking in fulfillment. Your voice becomes your vehicle. Understand this: the law of inner speech doesn't just manifest things, it manifests states. You are always becoming the version of yourself that your inner words describe. If you constantly talk from lack, you become the embodiment of it. If you speak from abundance, you attract experiences that mirror that wealth. You don't have to see it yet. You only have to sound like it. Heaven responds to the vibration, not the evidence. So start speaking as if it's done. Speak abundance when bills pile up. Speak peace when chaos surrounds you. Speak love when you feel alone. Speak strength when you feel weak. Because the words you plant in your mind today become the circumstances you live in tomorrow. The chosen one no longer uses their inner voice to repeat pain. They use it to rewrite destiny. Your inner speech is your prayer in motion, your unseen decree, your creative command. Guard it with reverence. Direct it with intention. And when doubt comes, because it will, don't argue with it out, speak it. Say within yourself, "It is already finished. What I desire is already mine." That statement alone carries more power than 1,000 worries. One day soon, you will look around and realize that your reality sounds just like your inner voice once did. The people, opportunities, and blessings surrounding you will echo the story you've been telling yourself in secret. And you'll understand it was never luck, never coincidence. It was the law of inner speech fulfilling its promise. Because when your inner talk aligns with divine truth, your life becomes a living prophecy.